Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to Rise Up After Dark.
Rise up after dark.
That's right. It is Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're live. And wherever you are, whenever you're listening, hi, we hope your candles are green. And tune in sometime to the live show so that you can join us for DYOR, BYOB, letting your hair down and apparently taking your sleeves off. Kind of fun. It's a great time. The only thing missing is you. You can get all the links to all our socials at theriseupmorningshow.com. And tonight we were supposed to be joined by our friend Brittany Kaiser, but she had what is maybe one of the best excuses in the history of live broadcast. She's on a flight that is delayed, laying over in Puerto Rico, and late to a meeting with the White House. So, for Brittany Kaiser, she has promised that she'll reschedule, and we'll be talking to more folks at the Open Source AI Foundation soon. Will, I actually found out that all of them are going to be in Las Vegas for the Bitcoin conference. So I said, hey,
guess who else is going to be there?
Exactly. So you'll be our man on the street, and I'll connect you with Tiffany, who's our contact there, is a wonderful creator on TikTok, super helpful, and I just felt so bad for her because she was like, I'm sorry, Evan, I don't know what to do. We have to cancel our meeting at the White House. And I was like, we are the least of your problems. Call me later. Get out of here.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
But
That's
also,
fair.
putting the White House over us, you're dead to me.
I did tell Alex on the phone that I was severely disappointed,
I will absolutely die on this.
and that we will now bar them entrance.
So
Rise Up Morning Show / Rise Up After Dark Show. They will ride no cats, nor dogs, nor horses, nor cows into neither sunset nor sunrises.
Wow.
you know, this is not funny. I'm going to preface this by saying that. So I'm sorry. I
I'm
find
try
it
my
funny.
best to not laugh.
Nobody else will find it funny.
See about that.
Shout out to my dad for this joke. When you said the cows, it just immediately popped into my head this one time that I was trying to tell my dad some stupid knock-knock joke as a child. And this, if you've ever met my father, which I don't think anybody
I
has.
was like, who's met your dad, dude?
No one. This is one of those things that you can tuck in your back pocket, and if you do ever have the fortune to meet my father, you'll instantly be like, okay, yeah, that tracks. And the joke was it was like knock knock, who's there? Cows go, and then you say cows go who, and I'm supposed to say no, cows go moo. And I said cows go, and my dad broke the joke, and he was like, what do you mean cows go? And I was like cows go. He's like, what do you mean cows go? Like go, what kind of go? Like multiple bovines perambulate go? And I was like, oh my.
Perambulate?
And so now I've just had it in my head, multiple bovines perambulate. Every time someone says cow, it just triggers this core
I
memory.
don't even think I've ever heard that word.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
perambulate is a deep cut, dude.
Perambulate.
From the vernacular, the lexicon.
Say it again.
So instead of like his clarification was when I said cows go was, do you mean to say multiple bovines perambulate?
Perambulate.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Perambulate.
Multiple bovines perambulate. Oh, wait. NFT idea.
NFT
And-
idea.
For the record, that's from a man who's, I think English is his 7th or 8th language. So
My dad
what's
can
your
beat up your
excuse?
dad.
Listen, pal.
Listen, pal. Don't you listen, pal me.
No. All I'm saying is Alex's dad is quite the character. I can't wait to get him on the show one day. We're eventually going to corner him into coming on the show and talking about what he's
Fair
done.
enough.
And maybe he can tell us some of the stories.
I'm his
But-
proxy. I speak
yeah.
for him.
Right.
He might
Spodovich.
not even exist. I might just be making all this shit up.
I've seen him. I know Igor is real.
I've seen him.
You did?
Yeah, I've seen him before. I've seen him several times. I've been on calls with him. I've talked to him. Unless it's an
that's
AI.
true. No, that's
Listen,
true.
man.
Oh, shit. Cat's out of the bag.
He's real, guys. Igor is real. And he's worth a point. But tonight we're talking about
The first
altcoin
point?
research. Yeah, exactly. I think Brittany got the first point. I got to write that down because I'm going to forget that, and I don't want to forget that.
And Will gets the first Gwump for not knowing that Brittany got the first point.
I actually think I already gave Will a point for being at the conference, so that
Damn it.
cancels out. But Will, I see you've got the classic Rise Up After Dark whiteboard out for the second time in as many weeks. I'm pretty
I know, it
stoked
feels
about
nice.
that. Yeah, man.
I'm glad to actually have you here for one of these.
Dude,
We usually have such
For
good
real.
episodes without you.
I know. I'm going to try not to break the streak.
Only at night. In the morning time, it's horrendous.
I'm going to try not to break the streak, and we're going to break down a couple of altcoins that have been suggested by our friends in the Rise Up Discord server. If you are curious, you want to learn about crypto, the best way to do it is to get into a community, and the best community we know is the free Rise Up Discord server at discord.gg/riseup. But if you've got a question, a suggestion, an altcoin you want us to see, let us know. Take a picture of this screen if you want to play along at home, and we will get started here in a minute. What got tonight, Will? Will you read them out for the people who are not watching video in audio
We
land?
got Axelar, BitTensor Tau, Dione Protocol, which is a new one for me, Tars AI, Deep, and Uniswap. And we've touched on some of these coins again, but it's always good to do a refresher on them as it's been a little bit of time. Not for Axelar, though. It's actually pretty recent for them, but we'll take a look at them again because, Carol, we got your back.
Hey.
Yeah. And we talked about starting with Tau just to get the ball rolling, but if there's something you want to see, there's something you want to hear, let us know. We're easy. We're paying attention to the chat. And just to prove it, here's a point for Christina because she requested one and I love her. So, your show, people. Tau, BitTensor Tau, an interesting token. And I've got the website pulled up right here. It is, if you want to play along, bittensor.com. You can take a look at it for us.
You ever been to a website that just immediately makes you feel stupid because it's Taos? This is
okay.
For me.
Well, and I meant to say, but before I got into Tau, I lost my train of thought giving Christina a point. But the regular characters on that board, we've done Axelar before. I'm pretty sure we talk about Uniswap all the time. But Alex, you said in our call to prep for the show,
yes,
there's a lot of tokens that are getting some traction lately. And what was the Uniswap stat you mentioned just to tease it? It was TVL, and it was how much percent in the last month?
3,490%.
TVL growth.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, so that's your teaser. We're going to revisit some old friends, and we're going to model the helpful research that you can base your own research on. There's no one-size-fits-all way to do crypto, to invest, to spend your time in this space. You might be a builder, a creator, you might be an investor, you might just be somebody who's trying to figure it all out. Hopefully, you can pull tools from this show to enhance your experience in crypto totally legally. So do you guys want me to give the quick overview? I've got it, but I'm happy to defer.
Please.
BitTensor, whose token is Tau. It's a decentralized network, layer one play, incentivizes the development and sharing of machine learning models. They are using blockchain to create a marketplace where AI models can be trained, they can do validation, they can be rewarded for validating, as can users, creators, participants. Their whole goal is to promote a more open and really collaborative AI dev environment. Some key features of the blockchain are proof of intelligence, POI, a consensus mechanism where contributors are rewarded based on the quality and usefulness of their AI models. I have a question about that. I'm skeptical about it. They've got subnets, which are sort of like miniature blockchains for dedicated purposes. These are for AI-specific tasks, so that'll help them scale. And then Dynamic Tau, DTau. This was introduced just last month and is a system that adjusts token emissions based on the demand and performance of the subnets. So it's basically a solution for efficient allocation of resources, which is important as you scale things. And the Tau token is the native utility token of the BitTensor network. It's got a couple of purposes. The first is it's an incentive. You reward contributors who provide valuable models, who make other contributions to the community in Tau token. It's a governance token. People who hold it can participate in decision-making, if there's going to be a network upgrade, some kind of policy change. And then staking. It can be set aside or allocated to validators, the people participating in consensus, to help secure the network by locking up more tokens for that purpose and therefore making it like a, those tokens are like bricks in a wall. And the more bricks you have in a wall, the harder it is to knock down. So staking, you can secure the network. There's a supply of 21 million tokens, fixed supply. And it does have halving events similar to Bitcoin, but I don't know what like the distribution of the supply as the tokenomics are. And there was a significant price surge recently, which is one of the reasons I think people have been talking about it more lately. Looked like when I checked, prices were $333 a token, just about.
46% on the week.
Okay, 46% on the week, $2.86 billion market cap. So some increased interest, and I expect a lot of this might have to do with that DTau and the expansion of subnets that are just making the network presumably more scalable. I don't know about usage. I don't know about where it's going to go in the future, and that is where I will leave it, gentlemen. to ask for your observations and your thoughts.
Yeah, I've had a lot of mixed thoughts on BitTensor Tau. From like an investment standpoint, I think as long as the crypto markets are green, it's going to be something that leads, because it's one of the leading and biggest namesake AI coins, and AI coins are still super hot. So as long as the crypto markets are green, BitTensor Tau should be green. Those are my thoughts on that. But when I think about it as a solution, when I think about an open AI marketplace for like machine learning models, I first go, okay, like what's the advantage here? And there are some niceties. And by taking AI modeling and putting it onto like an open blockchain environment, you're enabling everybody to immediately know where and how high of a quality data set those models are potentially pulling from, right? Or you can at least see exactly how the models were made, which isn't necessarily anything too different from open source today and the open source marketplace that exists within the Web 2 environment. But I always kind of struggle with the concept of like creating a machine learning marketplace for people, because I just go, if I'm just interested in getting a model, I don't need to incorporate the difficulty of having to get a wallet to get that model. I can already get the most accurate models in the world through traditional open source. If you don't know what open source is, that is the environment offered through the regular Web 2, regular traditional infrastructure today, where you have the top data scientists in the world putting code out for free for you to be able to go and use yourself if you are in fact a data scientist. So in that sense, I go, a machine learning environment, I don't really care for that, because nothing's new. In fact, just putting on the blockchain, you're just making it a little bit more difficult. But there is some credence to having models and data sets existing on the blockchain together, because then you're like, okay, cool, here's this model, but I can see all the data that's feeding it. And if I have the know-how, or I trust somebody with the know-how to go, hey, should this model be pushing out a really accurate answer, maybe more accurate than I can make myself with the data I have available to me, because I can see everything that's going into it? If the data scientist says yes, then hey, you have something that's valuable, that has like an extra stamp of approval and credibility on it. And that's cool. Just one of the issues, though, is a lot of the data that you need in data science modeling, be it marketing use cases, be it financial services, be it, what have you, operations, supply chain, all that stuff. A lot of the extra data sets that you need in order to be really accurate, you actually have to buy some of that from third-party vendors in like traditional Web 2 environments. So now you have that extra question, that extra difficulty of like, okay, well, how can this model and this data set in the blockchain really be used across all these various industries that may have paywalls and set businesses around access to that data?
Sure.
But those are extra complexities. So I say all of that to say I'm truly skeptical about the current state of something like a BitTensor to really be better than what we have today. But there are enough merits there that they can work towards being a more beneficial solution to what we have today. There's just a monumental task of bridging all of the data that exists between the blockchain ecosystem and traditional ecosystems, right? So those are my thoughts on BitTensor Tau as a solution, insofar as it compares to its ability to benefit the world, not just be an interesting speculative play in the crypto space. I think it can get there. It's just not there right now.
Neil says in the comments that he has used BitTensor Tau to buy extra compute. Said, love me some BitTensor. I asked if it was loved by many people, used by many people, if he thought it was like necessary or just a niche thing. And he said the AI art community loves it.
Dope.
So
That's
you,
dope.
Neil.
Well, super cool,
Alex,
man.
what are you thinking?
It's always nice to
Oh,
hear
sorry.
people like using the solution.
Yeah, that's always my first question, especially about the consensus mechanism. I was like, oh, okay. POI sounds like it could be kind of a fugazi. But as you can see on their website, the screen share here, it's very text heavy. And they like to compare themselves to Bitcoin by saying that it's the ultimate example of how they are making a market solution. They call it a digital commodity incentive mechanism, by defining the way in which computer power is validated, how they agree together who has the most power and thus the most reward. And presumably in a world where that kind of resource is scarce, you'll need a solution to allocate it efficiently. So I can get behind that. I'd like to see some more stuff. Curious, Alex, what your take on this is.
So this is a really good example for me of something I do like to bring up just because I think it's topical when we're talking about these different projects. We have to remember that not every project is for every person. And
Correct.
one of the first things that I try to think about when I look at a website, especially this one, is am I even supposed to be reading this? Not that I can't and that I couldn't go there to try to learn something, but like I'm not the target audience. Does it matter if I understand it? Because when I think about all of the different kinds of projects that exist and the way they use blockchain or the way they use a token, the way they use any kind of cryptocurrency or whatever, that's the part that I'm trying to understand. But I don't always fit the model of like who they're communicating with. So when I look at Unlock DAO, instantly, I'm like, yep, I'm a customer. I would use this. I am their target audience. I am much more qualified to sit here and criticize this thing or applaud it for this, that, whatever, than I am something like this. So I try to at least be upfront with myself right off the bat about that. And when I look at something like BitTensor, I immediately know like I don't really check any of the boxes. I'm not doing big AI stuff. I don't need to borrow compute power for this kind of stuff. I am not in a position to lend it out. I am not participating in any kind of governance over AI compute power models, all this kind of stuff. So immediately then I'm already having to look at it through a little bit of a different lens. And I can sit here and, for example, one of the things that I've done several times to try to deepen my understanding of it is just take that link to the BitTensor Tau white paper, send it to GPT, and just start asking questions about it. Like, hey, listen, I am not the target audience. I don't know that much about this kind of stuff. I need you to teach it to me. So, let's make an action plan to help me understand this in a better way or something like that. And it does a great job. The write-up that it's done are phenomenal and they're getting better. The better you are at asking questions, the better it gets. So I honestly feel a little bit unqualified to like really grade this project just because it's just not, it's not in my wheelhouse.
Sure. Well, then what do you say
Yeah.
we take a look at CoinGecko and talk about it as an investment? Will, do you have a thought?
Yeah, one other thing I wanted to add is from a tokenomics standpoint. Right now, it adds about $80 million worth of Tau tokens a month. But once you get into September of this year, that's going to essentially be cut into a third. So the daily issuance and inflation of the token, which, by the way, does make it harder for the price of it to go up, will be lessening once it comes into September. So could make it even easier for Tau to rise in the future as compared to it did in the past. But that still doesn't mean that there's not more supply out there, which makes it yada, 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 yada. But daily issuance of supply going down is typically better for price going up. At least it makes it easier. In terms of it as an investment, I mean, like I said, if the crypto markets are green, you should expect BitTensor Tau to be green. If you want, air quotes, safe exposure to the AI trend in the crypto space, this is probably the one you get. If you like, I mean, that's just it. So like from an investment standpoint, it's an A minus, because as long as Bitcoin's green, this guy's going to pop off and it's probably going to do well.
Do you think that's going to be true even as this space becomes more competitive? Like specifically, I'm thinking about the decentralized compute GPU. In a sense, I kind of think of this like I think of DeSci. I have a page up here that talks more about the consensus mechanism, and I want to know if you agree with this, because here's how it works. Proof of intelligence. The participants, they're called neurons. They contribute models, machine learning models, to the network. These models, if they're good and people use them, they get Tau tokens as rewards. The better your model is, the more tokens you can earn, and that kind of thing. It reminds me of DeSci in the way that people are like, it would be great if we just had a token that we could all buy and then we could fund some scientific research, which is cute and well and good. I love it. Good, great, grand, as our friend Neil would say. But are you telling me that your little DAO is going to compete, your little $2.5 billion market cap token is going to compete with OpenAI, Microsoft, at this level, at this time? I feel like it's an important thing to strive for, but I don't know that it's the best architecture for a solution. And I kind of feel like you, Alex. I don't know that I'm really qualified to say that because I don't know enough about that market. But Will, I feel like that's something you have more insight on, is that kind of company and how loaded they are or how competitive it would be. Am I off on that?
The thing is you're not going to compete.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Companies, but this is crypto. you don't have to be a company that's actually going to do the thing that you said you're going to do.
Ding.
You just have to be the leading crypto company in your category. And that's BitTensor Tau. And we have a long proven track history of those things go up in value when Bitcoin is green.
Not wrong about that. Not wrong about that at all.
Not wrong about that.
Okay, then final thoughts on Tau, or do we feel like we've got a grade?
I would just say that on the subject of it as an investment, I think all of that matters. I think what Will said is extremely valid. In crypto, your ability to compete properly or turn revenue doesn't matter as much as the story. But
Story's everything, man.
You just have to be the big fish in the small pond. You have to be the competitive guy in the crypto space. Meanwhile, there's like the great white shark that's in the ocean that you're not going to compete against as the biggest rainbow trout in the lake.
Yeah. Because, and I'd say this, like, for example, my experience with AI is pretty much just mass testing all of the LLMs as much as I can to compare my results for whatever I need it for. So that's kind of how I judge them. It's a singular anecdotal view of the industry, but that's what I got. When it comes to those kinds of things, though, like, it takes nothing for me to drop it, and I will just go with the better one. So I think that if it was like trying to compete on a product stage, that obviously it's going to struggle, but I don't necessarily think that matters in the grand scheme of things, especially not in the immediate future as far as crypto is concerned, as long as they keep doing the thing. So, I would have to give it, I'll segue us into the grades. I would have to give it middle of the road just because I don't know enough about it to have like a real educated opinion, and I wouldn't do us all the disservice of me sitting here bloviating a grade that I don't fully understand.
Bloviating like a perambulating bovine.
Bingo.
Okay. So your grade is a
C.
Is a C. Will,
Which is a cop out, I admit.
It's a cop out. I'm gonna give it a B because I agree with you that the story, the chart, the Bitcoin have a strong influence. I would pay more attention to this, and I'd just like to learn how it works because I think their site reflects a lot of money and a lot of thought. Like, they clearly have really worked their minds around what they believe is an important problem, and I think that's worth another look.
So you were a B?
B. Alex was a C. So what you going B?
I'm going with an A minus.
Going with an A minus. So that's like what? Like a B or B plus probably for Tau?
Overall, yeah.
I think you're sitting at, I think it's actually closer to a B minus.
B minus. Beautiful. Congratulations, Tau. You've got a B minus. Will, you've got 2 points. Alex, you've got 2 points. I've got a point. Christina's even got a point. Can you believe it?
I certainly can.
I certainly can.
Do we want to do, I don't even know how to say it, Dione?
That's kind of what I was thinking. I'd like to do
Dione.
another, like, one that's new to us, just
Totally
so we can
new.
give the impression of a first look. Dione, if you know how to say it in the comments, Dione. And while we take a minute to pull this up, I also know that somebody had requested Filecoin, and you mentioned, Alex, that we're going to have someone from Filecoin on the show. So can you give me a commercial? I don't know what my accent is there. Giving me a commercial about who we should expect to be our guest next week by way of transition. Golly.
Yeah, so we are still finalizing scheduling, but a guest that is coming up pretty soon, who is the current CEO and founder of Akave, is a previous team member and employee at Filecoin and is extremely passionate about data storage, and decentralizing that whole thing. So I'm personally very excited. And he first told me, like, this is boring. And I'm like, you don't understand. It is, but it's really important, and we can make it exciting because data is super important. So I'm going to punt the Filecoin conversation till we have the resident expert himself here with us, hopefully next week. But stand by for the final scheduling on that interview. But in a tiny nutshell, it is a decentralized data storage solution. And the ultimate question is, how decentralized are these things? And does that matter? And what's the point? And is there a benefit to it? And the only thing that I'll say about it is that in a world where the biggest thing that you produce, the most valuable thing you produce on a regular basis is data, something that gets literally taken from you, often without your awareness, and sold for tremendous amounts of money right from underneath you, to support an industry that makes a few people extremely rich that wouldn't exist without you and all of your hard work. Yeah, it's super fucking important. So you should care about your data. And decentralized data storage solutions are extremely important. And that's why I've been obsessed with data solutions since I got to cryptos. Like, if we're talking about blockchains, which are just decentralized or databases, data is that's the thing. That's the whole thing. That's the whole kit and caboodle. So
I am a big fan of this.
big fan of this.
It's a shame that we didn't get Brittany on tonight. I cannot wait to have her because this is her conversation prepping for this. Brittany, wherever you are, whenever you listen, I hope you made it to the White House, and I can't wait to have you on the show. Do you guys want me to give the overview, or does somebody else have the overview of Dion Protocol? And for folks who want to play along at home, it's Dion, Dione protocol.com. Go ahead, Will.
So I think I got the gist of it.
Okay.
So it's a layer 1 blockchain, which immediately puts it into an incredibly competitive field. So I then tried to find how is it making itself different. So its focus is on renewable energy. So it's a layer 1 blockchain that it claims is entirely run by renewable energy, so that's good, great, and grand. Love that. And its mission is it has the idea, it's like its product that it wants to have, or its like home base is going to be, its bread and butter is going to be a marketplace that enable a green energy marketplace where people can get access to green energy, purchase it and sell it for a more sustainable and greener future. And that was kind of the gist that I got. Evan, was there anything else to kind of add on top of that?
Yeah, I think it might be interesting to talk about just some of the parts of their chain. So, like you said, the mission is democratize green energy. And the first part of that is their EVM compatible layer 1 blockchain. Like Will said, incredibly competitive space, but also incredibly lucrative. If you're pitching to a VC, it's great to have the phrase building a layer 1 blockchain in your mouth because they see big time dollar signs. The TVL, the market cap for a layer 1 is just bigger than I'm building a game, So Odyssey Chain, that's their layer 1. High throughput, 45,000 or 4,500 transactions per second. Swift transaction finality, less than 1 second, just like everybody. And robust security. I think they might have some way to borrow some security from Ethereum. They've got Nebra is the name of their energy marketplace. So users can trade energy directly, bypassing a traditional like grid system. That's their whole blockchain thing, is like, if we bring this on chain and use smart contracts, you don't have to use the solution now, which is kind of like the stock market. It's closed sometime. It's clunky sometimes. Wouldn't you rather it just be in the form of a token and we can trade it that much easier? And the answer for most people is yes. They've got Orion. Are you sensing a theme here? Odyssey, Nebra, Orion, a decentralized physical infrastructure network, DPIN. So it's like an AI Starlink satellite internet that'll operate their solar-powered blockchain validators in places that are remote, where energy is cheap, and maybe where they can share power with people who are not on the grid. And then they got a wallet. A renewable energy powered wallet. I'm not sure how that works. That's the claim for managing your Dione. And the consensus mechanism is proof of stake. And the token, there are 13 billion Dione tokens, 10.15 billion circulating, market cap of 17 million, tiny. And it looks like the team has vested tokens still. There are future raises tokens allocated, but it's not a big portion of the supply. We're talking like single digits of percent. So that's pretty good. But that's what I've got. Their website here is dionprotocol.com, and they're at Dion Protocol on Twitter. The immediate impression I get of the website is kind of like, I don't know. It's a really interesting vision. I'd want to see what's the proof in the pudding like. How viable is this? And is it competitive with something else that's also green, like a layer 2 on Ethereum? I don't know. I feel like that's branding. You're shaking your head.
So
Alex.
Go ahead, Alex.
This is just buzz. The only vibe I get from this is buzz. Like the things that are being
they've got an
advertised.
NFT collection.
Oh,
sorry.
thank God.
Themed around celestial narratives and the cosmos. Oh, sorry. Gotta gwump it.
So what
Okay.
I'll say, if you want me to step
Go
in,
ahead.
is
No, go ahead.
the price had done well in the past, like it going up into April of 2024, so last year, like it did pretty well then. Since then, it's kind of been a bit of a laggard. It's been a good coin to trade for sure. It's been incredibly volatile. It's a 16 to 17 million dollar coin, so the opportunity to trade on it is good if you can find a market with enough volume to handle your trading. But yeah, it's just a bunch of buzz. And here's my problem with democratizing green energy. Do I like that? Yes. But like, think about who your target audience is for democratizing energy. They're people who don't have access to energy there, which means that they're people who are lower down on the economic status. And they don't really care if it's green energy or dirty energy. They just need something to keep the lights on at their home, to keep heat on. If you have air conditioning, whatever you need for cooking, you just need some basic energy, right? Green energy is great, but it is still a luxury. We're starting now to get to the point where green energy is becoming cheaper. Like, to get electric, it can be cheaper, but that's entirely dependent on if your government subsidizes it right now. Like, green energy is a luxury. And if you're trying to democratize energy and offer it in a new medium where you need wallets and all that kind of stuff, you know, it has to be super, 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 super dirt cheap. And green energy just isn't that dirt cheap to be able to like incentivize people coming onto this new system to get it. And I just don't see that really necessarily happening, because the target audience right now for people who want green energy, like right now it's a luxury good. And you're just not going to get that audience with this.
Yeah,
I don't think. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't know. I don't know if I
somebody who works at I think so. Somebody who works at Exxon is not seeing this and going, I can't wait to invest. I mean, or the money and the power is not yet here.
Well,
although I will push back just to say that there are a lot of examples where in remote areas especially, no grid means no competition. Excess energy has no buyers. And if they overproduce like Bitcoin miners during some points in the day, then they can share that power. And that is it's a popular narrative. I don't know how financially viable it is, but I got to believe at some levels and in some ways it is, because more and more people do seem to be doing it. I just don't know enough about it to have a more informed opinion.
Yeah, I'd be more interested if it was just like democratizing energy. You know, the green energy aspect to it just kind of makes me worried. It's just very buzzy, like what Alex said. But this is crypto. Buzzy things can do well, you know. So, but you know, as a solution, democratizing energy is good, great, and grand. It just, I feel like it's, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's there yet.
Nil a point for bringing the phrase "good, great, grand" into our vocabulary, because it's had quite a night today.
I don't know. I've always said that from Adam Sandler. No.
Have you really?
My God.
I don't think I've ever heard you say that.
It's not a constant, but it's always been there, because I have said it since a small child, from the scene where Chris Farley is the bus driver in Happy Gilmore, and he's about to drive everybody back, and he goes, "Good, great, grand, everybody on the bus."
I don't remember him being in that movie. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I got to go back and watch it. And watch it. Alex, go ahead, man.
So yeah, I don't like a lot of things about this.
You could have stopped that sentence. I don't like a lot of things.
I don't like a lot of things.
I don't like a lot of things. I don't like a lot of things about this, because and this is my first impression. I will disclaimer. I know what I have found out about this in the last 10 minutes. If what is being advertised to me is this renewable green energy, whatever, there are so many other instances where that is an afterthought. That's like a given with a lot of these things. I mean, the Web3 industry is a relatively green industry, which a lot of that was spurred on by the fact that there was concerns about Bitcoin's energy consumption. And now we are at a point where consistently more than half of the energy going into Bitcoin mining is green. And actually there are several instances of energy recycling. And there's a town in Vancouver, this was years ago, that made headlines because they had a Bitcoin plant or a mining facility, recycled the heat, pumped it into houses. The entire El Salvador's entire mining operation is a geothermal energy miner. This is not unique. So if that's your headline, you're going to need a lot more. Like, no one's going to invest in it just because of that. The chart looks like shit.
Yeah, it looks bad.
I'm not in a hurry to buy that thing. I agree with you, Will, that like there's chop, but like there's so many better things to trade that I wouldn't have to worry about just rugging tomorrow.
Or such a low amount of volume that like you're going to have so much slippage on your transactions and lose money there. Like, it's not a good coin.
No. And it's just, I mean, there's too many things too. So like what, okay, so you're an energy, okay, no, it's just a super fast blockchain. Okay, no, that's not it. High, low finality times, whatever. It's like, okay,
Buy your NFT.
yeah, buy the NFT. Also, we do depend. It's just like, first of all, make up your mind. Second of all the things that are the defining characteristics of yours are afterthoughts on every other major network. I mean, you want to talk about finality? That's Mega ETH's whole brand. Low latency. Algorand's whole brand is finality. Like you can't, and also Algorand's whole brand is green energy. So you can't just come in here and steal a couple bumper stickers from big popular projects, slap it on, and make me give a shit. I'm sorry. Like
they
I
got
know this is somebody's
$18
baby.
million worth of a shit.
Well,
at least right
I
now
know.
for market
And
cap.
that's crypto for you. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, this is not a thing that I think needs to exist.
Yeah, and the other thing too is you have all these things, and some of these things would be really, really cool if there wasn't an Algorand, if there wasn't a Solana, if there wasn't 5,000 other layer ones, and also things are already green, as you said. So I think we're ready to give this one a grade.
Yep.
Go first, man. Tell me where you're throwing it.
I'm gonna give it a D minus.
I was gonna give it a D, so I'm right there with you,
Oh.
man. I'm right there with you, Alex. He's giving it a.
I don't have enough space here for actually. No, hang on a second. Believe
You
me.
can
It's,
do
it's
it.
already got a
You
Gwump.
can do it. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you'd spell that, but let us know how we're doing. We've done Dion Protocol. We've done Tau, BitTensor. We have a couple grades on the board and a few more to go. Let us know what your grades are. Let us know at this point if you have questions, suggestions, good jokes, words of wisdom. Leave them in the chat. And if you're listening to the recording, feel free to leave them in the
Alex,
comments.
have you not
God damn.
taken a look at what is on for your grade?
Perfect. Beautiful. You've captured the
I didn't see it
essence of my feelings.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's a middle finger stick figure drawing, and it's frankly perfect. I think that should be an emoji, just like that.
I think it should be.
So that was the
Shout
grade.
out
We got
to,
an average grade there, D probably.
But hey,
Shout
you
out
know what? Now that we've given it a D, it'll probably like give 5,000 X returns.
Yeah, we
was
have a
gonna
record
say-
on this show of grading things low, and then they have a little pump.
Although that
So-
was infamously that was Toncoin. I think we gave it a
oh,
no,
an
we gave it a great
yeah.
no, we gave it an A, and then like 2 days later, like the founder was arrested of Telegram. It was just like, oh, I am. And there's one of their comments like, this is awful. And it was like,
Pretty sure we also gave Velodrome a C, and then it had like a big pump or a C minus or something. And I
Yeah.
don't know, it happens sometimes. We're
happens.
grading based on, first, would you pay more attention to this project, and would you invest more in it is really the question. You could be investing intention, you could be investing as a community member, you could be investing dollars, but sometimes these things, like Will has pointed out, have great pumpamentals. DeFi Daddy said it when he was on. It doesn't matter that it doesn't do anything. It's the number one in its category on CoinGecko, and Bitcoin is going up, so it's a great time to buy. Or
Plus, things of this size are ripe for manipulation. It really doesn't take that much to push a chart that's this small and that bad. So like the big caveat, the big disclaimer to grading altcoins like this that you really do have to be aware of is that, and it sounds silly because we sit here and we do this and we spend a lot of time learning about this and researching these things, but like at the end of the day, all of this can be undermined by one whale being like, yeah, I'd like to make some money. That pile of shit. Full send, and then it just does 600% in a week for absolutely no reason at all. Someone makes a buttload of money and it dumps back into the ground. But for that moment, everyone's like, "Oh, what an amazing project!" And then some momentum is taken, and there you go.
I'd be curious to know where they heard about it. Go ahead. Will.
What I was going to say, and sorry for talking over you, Evan, but what I was going
we're
to
good.
say is from having the conversation earlier with Pri, who's a new friend of ours who's been working in the DeFi space since 2017, a number of different projects and the like, she was like, these DeFi projects need to break out and get new people, because she's like, well, what are your thoughts of crypto Twitter? I'm like, well, it's a big circle jerk of the industry of the same people talking to the same people for the same certain number of years. And she's like, it's the same thing on chain. And I was like, well, what do you mean? She's like, every single DeFi project has just been farming, and I kid you not, the same 3,000 wallets for about 4 to 6 years.
Yeah,
So like,
I believe
they just focus on those big wallets and they just farm them, and those wallets get to keep making money because they're early on, just like some DeFi projects and the like. And that's just what this industry has been doing for like 4 to 6 years. Now it's like, I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and you can track that for yourself. That's not a thing. The beauty of blockchain, you don't have to take anyone's word for it. There are reports written about this kind of thing. Chainalysis, I'm sure, has done overviews of this kind of thing. And the best way I've heard it described was exactly that. Like, this whole ecosystem right now is a bunch of protocols competing for the same couple thousand giga users to port their liquidity over to their side of the fence for a little while. And how do you do that? Usually by extra TGEs, dropping some sort of an airdrop, that kind of a thing. And once your flash in the pan is over, everyone's going to move on to something else. And right now, no one is really trying to break the model and do anything. So the ecosystem is ripe for some goddamn innovation for a change. And the second that it happens, I think that the easiest prediction is going to be when real innovation comes around, no one's going to want anything to do with it because it's going to be weird. And they feel comfortable in the value extraction model that is currently everywhere. Build a pyramid scheme, talk it up as if it's the next big thing, farm everybody for liquidity, drop some kind of crappy token that plummets into Hades' kitchen tomorrow morning, and then rinse and repeat with another pile of shit tomorrow. And there you go. The second someone comes around and does something different, it's not going to get recognized because be like, oh, what's this? I don't know. I don't recognize this model. I feel skeezed out by this. And then that thing is going to still be here. It's never going to dump. And in a year, someone's going to be like, wait, look at this chart. Look at this protocol. It hasn't been farmed. It's not been whatever. They're still cooking, whatever. And then all of a sudden it'll get some recognition and move. And that's why I was excited that Uniswap was on the list, because it's just a very different setup. Like, it's one of those that did it just a little bit differently, just a tiny break from the norm.
Okay,
and
keep
what made
pulling
me,
on that thread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what made me think of that, though, was Alex, you just being like, and one whale decides to sell. And I was like, it's probably one of those 3,000 wallets. But I think, keep pulling on that thread for sure, because I think that's a good segue into Uniswap and kind of what's going on there, because it's fascinating.
Yeah, and my question, of course, is
it too late to get in?
Yeah, is now a good time to buy?
It's the perfect time to buy.
It's the perfect time to buy.
I'm giving us all a point for that. Thank you very much. Alex, do you want to do the overview on the old Uniswap and tell us why we're talking about it tonight? Because everybody knows Uniswap, I think, or at least a lot of people will be familiar with it, but I agree it's worth a second look.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I was excited to put this on, and I want to pull up. I want to see if I can find the Evan stall. I'm going to try to find this chart because it was
no problem. I want to remind you that if you are asking for a token and we respond in the comments that we've already talked about it before, or you're just listening and thinking to yourself, I wish they do this, I wish they do that, check out the Rise Up After Dark playlist on YouTube. We have got 29 episodes, interviews with expert guests, and deep dive altcoin research on tokens like Plume Network, like Barachain, like Ton. We've done just about everything. We've done Doge. We've done Pepe. We've done a lot of hot trendy coins. We've done tokens that have been around forever, and we've probably given a take on your favorite cryptocurrency token and given it a grade too. We'd love to know if you agree with it, disagree with it, and you can leave your feedback on those YouTube videos or, of course, in the Discord. Somebody asked about Barachain tonight. Somebody asked about Plume tonight. We touched on Filecoin, and if there's a token you don't see there, the best place for your comment and your suggestion is in the Rise Up Discord server. It's totally free to join. Global community with learners at all levels of experience. The only thing missing is you. Plus, we've got premium memberships. You can get courses that we've recorded. We've got PDF guides. We've got coaching if you just need some help or emotional support. It's really the best place to be, and that's the best way to learn crypto is in the context of a community, and ours, we think, it's the best. So check it out at discord.gg/riseup or find the link at the riseupmorningshow.com. Leave us your altcoin picks there. Alex, how'd I do? Are you ready for me?
Yes.
Woo! Giving myself a point. Thank you very much.
You deserve a point. You're the best at it.
Okay, so
I don't know about that, but I am at it.
Really quick. Before we get into the numbers, because the reason I wanted to talk about it tonight was the numbers. If actually, Evan, if you want to prep the old screen share just for Uniswap and Unichain's DeFi Llama profile, a lot of it's on there.
I'm going to go to the Uniswap website first. Is that okay?
Totally.
Just so people can see it.
So the quick overview here is, so Uniswap came out in 2018, And yeah, 2018, right? When was
Sounds
the
right.
airdrop?
I have the token out in 2020, but the token came out after the solution.
Yeah, the airdrop was a huge airdrop. This was
I have a friend here in Memphis who participated in it, and he even has a pair of Unisocks that they distributed to their holders that are
Yes.
worth
Nice.
like thousands of dollars with the NFT. It's wild.
brilliant. So yeah, I think the launch Uniswap V1, I'll fact check myself. I want to say came out in 2018. It was basically just this place for AMMs, automated market makers, to
Make markets.
facilitate trades. Yes. And the big thing at this point was just trading between Ether, the native cryptocurrency for the Ethereum network, and other ERC20 tokens. There were no, like, everything had to be routed through ETH in the beginning. There were no like ERC20 to ERC20 swaps, which is an interesting fun fact. Fast forward a little bit, we start getting all of these other functionalities. It's growing, right? Like its DeFi Llama chart is gives you a pretty good overview of its entire lifespan and the money and all that sort of stuff. Then, you know, more and more more features come out. We're on what, version 3 now?
Yeah.
V3.
We're actually on version 4, though V3
we
is
are.
the one that most people use. Yeah, V4
V3,
introduced
okay.
a new feature I can talk about in a minute.
Okay, sweet. V3 came out a couple years ago at this point. A whole bunch of new features happen at this point. This is one of the things that you will see from protocol to protocol. Like, for example, when I use Aave, I'm on Aave V3. You can still use the old versions, but there's just not as much money. There's not all that kind of stuff. You know, most people are using the newest, most current version. Good night, Jordan. Go to bed. The
Father is working.
W's in the chat for Jordan, everybody. Jordan,
He can-
we
he can
love
get a
you,
point.
man. Hell yeah.
Anyway, there is this native token on Uniswap called Uni, and it's been kicking for a long time. And this, I want to say this was like the first or one of the first of this idea of like platform or DEX tokens. And now there are a ton, and they have their special place in the industry. And they're one of the few that has some interesting utility options, depending on how much you care about that kind of stuff. So, you know, governance on the protocol, making decisions, farming rewards, better yield. One of the first, or actually not one of, the first place I ever learned about providing liquidity, and for the record, I got hosed because I had no clue what I was doing and I didn't research properly, was providing liquidity in an ETH Uni pair on Uniswap. And they have their own blockchain now, which has only just come out quite recently. And spoiler alert, it's going all right, which is really interesting because its launch coincided with the launch of a bunch of other networks, a bunch of other specific blockchains. I mean, think about in the last couple months, the last year, how many relatively large names have launched in this sense? You have Unichain, Base before that, InkChain from Kraken. You've got Barachain is another one. Blast is another one. There's a number. There's a bunch of layer 2s. There's a bunch of first layer chains. There's all this kind of stuff. And all of them, actually, except for Base, and who else doesn't have their own? Ink doesn't have their own token. Base doesn't have their own token. This one has a token with a bit of a checkered past, lengthy price chart history. I have held Uniswap before. I don't currently hold it, but to be very honest with you, like, I am reconsidering, just because I kind of feel like I want exposure to this ecosystem, and not even so much like from a raw investment, just from the fact that like I might want to go back and try to do more stuff, because I still use Uniswap on a pretty regular basis. If I need to trade anything on ETH or EVM, it's going to go through Uniswap.
My question is, are the tokenomics for Uniswap different now that they have its own blockchain? Are the fees paid in Uni or are they paid in Ethereum? Because for those of you who don't know, Uniswap is infamously kind of held up as the example of like the prime governance token that whose tokenomics don't really help drive up the price. Like with Ethereum, you need Ethereum to pay for gas fees. So using Ethereum, causes the price to go up because you need to buy Ethereum for gas fees. Right? With Uniswap, it's just governance. So do you know if the tokenomics, the demand side utility of the coin is different?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay.
I would be very curious to go look it up myself, though.
Let me see what I can find while you keep riffing.
Yeah, that was going to be what I was going to look up, but if you can believe it, my computer has actually said, "Not today, Satan, not today."
So the last thing I was going to say just about this being kind of an interesting is that we didn't get a fresh token that launched just for this. We got additional utility and more purpose for an existing token that was already distributed and airdropped a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I'm talking about when I say something interesting, something that is a break from the norm of fresh token launched to everyone, crater the price by however many percent. What's Zora down by today? 50%?
About that.
40%. So
Also, shout out to your boy. I got an airdrop of like 824 tokens for a whopping grand total of $19.24.
hey,
Thank you very much.
I saw somebody on Twitter today.
Yeah,
post that
rolling
they
in it.
received one Zora, and I was like, "That's amazing."
Yeah. Oh wait, Evan, that just reminded me of like a trade I completed, I think like a week ago or 5 days ago now, where I think it was a week ago. It was like I had 4 trades I made, 2 were losses, 1 was a big win, which made the whole thing worth it, and then 1 was $14. Woo!
Yeah,
baby.
Moving.
That was
volume.
that was Ondo. That was my Ondo trade because I was just like, let me reassess the market. I wiped everything and made a few grand, but like I was like $14. Hell yeah.
Okay, so what did you find out about the tokenomics for Unitoken? Are we
So 3 use cases. Yeah, there's governance participation. So say Levy, nice, but sure, nothing new. Staking for revenue sharing. So staking's good. We like staking. Enhanced utility through staking rewards. This is the part I didn't read. So let me see. Beyond governance, staking Uni tokens contribute to the network's security and efficiency, yada, yada. In return, stakers receive rewards, yada, yada, which enhance the token's utility and blah, blah, blah. That's the third. Wait. The third reason is the second reason. So you have staking and you have governance. That's it.
It's not the gas token. We're using ETH.
Yeah, let me double check on that real quick.
No,
It is,
I've got the
you know.
confirmation. We are using ETH for gas fees.
Okay,
Sweet.
well, it is nice that they released Unichain without some new token, but it would be nice if they added some kind of additional utility for the Uniswap token. I think that would have gotten people really excited.
Yeah, even if it was just Fugazi, I kind of agree.
Yeah.
But I like that it's thoughtful.
But I like the ethos. I like the ethos of it.
And I like that the token exists. I like that it's doing stuff now. And when I had that page up for CoinGecko, I really liked just the way it was looking. I don't know that DEXs are going to have some sort of meteoric return or blow past their all-time highs, but I like where it's looking. It's obviously not going anywhere. They're making big moves, and I think if in a world where crypto companies' valuations never actually legitimately reflect the value they provide to the market, it produces a ton of revenue. A lot of people use it. It's integrated with dozens of protocols. I think it's 16 or 17 chains now. And in a world where DEX tokens are positioned for growth and a comeback, I honestly can't think of a better token that's more well positioned. It reminds me of like the Link of DEXs. Like you just know Link is going to go back up in price. I just feel like now might be a good time to buy Uniswap.
It's the perfect time to buy.
For me. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's down just a tiny smidgen on the hour, but of course it is one of those that has done double-digit percentage points up this week, 17% on the week, which is not nothing. But when you zoom out, it's a blip compared to where this thing was. I mean, go back to 2021 times, this thing was over $40 at the peak, and it's been as high as in the teens. And what are we at? $6 right now. So that's kind of why, like you said, Evan, I've been considering it. I have no earthly idea where it would go. This would kind of be like a similar methodology to when I added a little bit of Ondo. I did it to like mark that I have some, and then kind of change the way that I monitor this thing, because now I have like a vested interest in learning more, paying more attention to it. I own some of it. I'm covered just in case. It was kind of I don't want to say impulse, but like I didn't go into a lengthy plan to say like, okay, yes, now is the perfect time for me to get this. It's done this and then I'm looking at the chart, like all this kind of stuff. It's like, okay, you know what? I've been sitting on it long enough. I know enough about it. I'm gonna get a little bit of it, and that's kind of how I feel about Uniswap at this point, to be very honest.
Yeah, for me, I'm trying to see. God, my Tokenomics, the website, is not playing friendly with me right now. I don't know why. I was trying to see what the if there was any more issuance of supply coming out, or what if it's totally it's 100% unlocked, which figures. Okay, so you don't have to worry about the inflation. When it comes to like having this be like a big portion of like my altcoin bag, no. Do I love Uniswap and what it does? Have I used Uniswap in the past? Will I use it in the future? Yes. But there's just not enough here. I'm excited by the solution. I'm not excited about the token. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Interesting. Alex, did you say 3,000% for TVL growth?
It's more than that.
Okay, because I was looking over here on the llama. I had it up and I'll bring it back. And it looks like they may not be reporting on all of that. This pink line is TVL.
Yeah, so my assumption, because if you go back and you look at the number, let me pull it up, that is being reported for Uniswap, covering all 32 of the blockchains that it is, the current TVL, which is also okay, I got it. I figured out why the number was so high. This number specifically is Uniswap TVL on Unichain specifically, which is currently at $326 million. So I think they're just doing what Coinbase did for Base when it went to $10 billion TVL. They're shuffling around. They're reallocating funds to boost the ecosystem, which, to be very honest,
makes sense.
I'm not upset about it, because the actual number is 11,663% TVL increase in 1 month on Uniswap via Unichain, which just means to me that Uniswap is moving some of its money over because they have billions of dollars of TVL.
Yeah, from at the start of April, 2.5 million to today, 332 million TVL. Nothing to shake a stick at.
No, but also a drop in the bucket compared to Uniswap's overall TVL. So that's kind of why I'm a little bit more excited about it, because that is like a blip in the overall. I mean, what's the total for all?
Total is 3 point something billion. I think it was 3.68.
3.855 billion across all of the versions.
Shucks.
Damn. Shucks.
Only 200 million off.
Shucks. I love that response. Shucks.
Shucks. So I mean, I don't know. That's kind of why because like they have the name, they are in that like Dino category, but relevant. You've had a lot of Dino coins do well. Will said it himself right now. Is he super excited about like the state of the chart or adding it in a huge way? No. Is he going to continue? Is he going to continue using the protocol all the time? Yes. Like it grinds my gears that we say like, okay, well, am I going to use this product in the Web3 space all the time forever? Yeah. As a bad thing.
I didn't say it as a bad thing. I didn't say it as a bad thing.
You were like bummed out about it. You're like, am I going to make a big altcoin bag here? No. Am I going to use this thing? Yeah.
Because I want to make money, damn it.
I know,
and the solution helps me make money.
The solution helps you make money because it's a fucking product with product market fit in the crypto space. Like, we can't pass it up. How much revenue are they making? Let's take a guess here.
I can't guess because
guys, revenue and good businesses don't matter. Pumpamentals.
Listen,
Pumpamentals don't get me. I need it.
Annualized fees, $640 million in fees are generated every single year on that platform.
Hey, Uniswap, you hiring?
That's bonkers.
Uniswap, you hiring?
Uniswap, you adopted?
Yeah, right.
Just
come on, man.
They might have a bigger sailboat than Will's sailing family, is all I'm saying.
I think they might.
So
your
friends,
points are
my sailing friends.
You're sailing friends. That's right.
Not
but
my
friends,
family.
Maybe
choice.
Uniswap. I I played crypto game with a couple of them on Unichain, and maybe we can get them. We need to get somebody from Uniswap on the show. We've talked to a bunch of their people. Our friend Lindsay is good friends with a lot of them. It is our goal, and we will put you in touch with them. But for now, I think we should give them a grade. I hear we'll get that marker out of that sound.
You sure do.
I will take the onus and go first and say I'm going to give it a B+. Maybe I was really teetering on an A-, man. Alex is looking at me, and I am thinking a B+ because I would like to see a little more poop. I'm probably going to buy some. Full transparency, I would find the money to buy it, but my list is full. You know, it's not imminent. Will, I can't see your camera on TikTok. You have it on?
Oh, I forgot.
To hit the save button.
I forgot.
I
Ain't no
forgot.
thing. Okay, Will, what's your grade?
Oh man, I thought I had more time.
Okay, Alex, what's your grade?
Dude, listen, I'm giving it. I'll be more objective, and I won't let so much bias come through. I will give it the A-, because this is a thing that makes revenue. It's a thing that has been working for years. It's a thing that brought something new to the table when they dropped their chain, and they're using an existing token that's been around for years. They didn't have to pump some new pile of crap. There's no fresh TGE to worry about with sketchy tokenomics and some crazy VC unlock schedule, and product market fit. That's it. Revenue, product market fit.
Yeah.
Good model.
Good
A-.
model. A-. Okay. Will? He said. He's going for it. He's going for it. He's going. He's giving it a C+. Oh my God.
Explain
You
yourself
know,
again. I don't know. I need you to.
Nah, you get it. Axelar. No.
Oh, you son of a
The
bitch.
thing is like you said, I love the solution. I tend to stay away from dinosaur coins that have been around for a while, even though we've had some that really popped off and done great. But the thing is like those coins, for the most part, had like super strong communities online. Like, I'm just talking about Uniswap as an investment, right? The solution's phenomenal. It's great. It's going to be around for forever. I hope it's around for forever. I'll keep using it. It's great. But purely from an investment, C+, because like if you look at the Cardanos, if you look at the XRP is the prime example. If you look at the Algorand, you have pretty rabid communities. I'd say XRP has the most rabid. Then there's Cardano, and then Algorand further down, led by Cosmic. Hope you're here, buddy. But you know, I don't really get the sense that Uniswap has like a frothing at the mouth, frantic community that I think is the difference maker in what makes the crypto itself go up in value for a dinosaur coin. A whole bunch of people getting excited online, talking about it. New people rushing in. What's this thing? Let me buy it. Oh, it's the first one. It's great. People use it. Has all this TV. Then people would get really exciting. But for me, from an investment standpoint, it's missing that initial kind of big bang moment. That special sauce, which is just like a
certain
bunch of like
je ne sais quoi.
incredibly autistic crypto people who love one thing only and only one thing because they think it's like the new it's the new thing, But
I will
anyways,
say they do have a really fervent community, but a lot of them are tireder than Alex and have been here since Bitcoin was born, and they just don't want to show up in public. And that's going to be a hurdle for them, is getting that community of people to start talking to everyday users and like stop, just stroking each other's egos at like a pizza Dow party wearing their unisocks. No shade to that though, because that's a fun time.
And here's the thing. I don't think the Uniswap team really gives a crap about the price of the token, right? They're here to build. They're building a solution. They are doing exactly what they've set out to do, and God bless them, right?
That makes me happy.
The space is better off for it. Yes, that's why they got a plus on the C. And son of a bitch. But like, if they just added some extra bit of utility for the token, it would ignite the entire community. Everyone would be talking about it.
Are you talking like a free hoodie utility,
no,
or like
I don't know, some extra use of the Uni token in the Uni blockchain, something that would drive demand for Uniswap that would match the increased demand and usage and adoption of the Uni blockchain, right? Because right now it's just staking, and staking's great, but give something else added on top, because that's the biggest thing that the Uniswap community has been asking for over the years was give us something more than just governance. Now staking's turned on. Cool, great, that's something. But like everyone has, I don't know, just something there would be nice. I'm just trying to think of something that would like really get like people pumped up and like rabid and be like, oh my God, Uniswap, it's this new thing. Yeah.
Jeff solved it. He said in the comments, maybe get Jesse from Base to do some advertising for them.
Oh boy.
Run, Uniswap, run.
Oh,
Hey, do you
man.
want $50 to get on chain?
Ace, please get a PR team.
Please.
Okay, so Uniswap grades. Solom in the comments gave it a B+. He agreed with me, and he's playing a drinking game down there. Said a new rule I've established is when you and a host agree on a grade, you have to do 2 shots. And I have to say, thank God I'm drinking tea, because according to his rules, I would already be under the table. But I'd like to hear what
water,
everyone else
or
is,
is
you
it
know,
vodka?
moonshine, just
Who knows?
white lightning.
Seeing as how I know how little Alex can drink.
It's true.
I'm gonna go with water.
That's true.
But hey,
you
not
mentioned
spending
it.
money at the bar.
You mentioned it, Will. You said Axelar in jest, but I feel like that'd be a fine place to go next. How do you feel
Sure.
about it? Okay, I've got it pulled up, and I'm happy to give just a refresher. And then, when are we getting them on the show? Didn't we talk to Galen? Aren't we getting someone there? And we just put it on hiatus.
Soon.
Yeah, I need to. I'll follow up with them tomorrow, actually.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, wait. Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow. But yes, we should have someone from Axlar on the team eventually.
So, Will, tell us about your skiing buddies.
You know. Yeah. What do you think about him?
Galen's great. Though we met them at ETH Denver, and it was two gentlemen. I forget the other guy's name, but Galen was there, and he's my skiing buddy. And we were just chatting up for an hour about skiing and being a couple cool guys.
They do both look like cool guys. To be fair,
Galen was dope. Galen was sick. I liked him a lot. He was a good dude. But no, I mean, Evan, do you want me to do the overview on Axlar?
man, go for it. Go for it.
All right,
Absolutely. And I'll
sure,
pull up a
yeah.
little screen share for you. Is the website okay while you're doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Axlar, basically think of it as something that helps connect a crypto project to another crypto project. It does that work for them. So think of it as like a bridge of sort, or a data integrator is the way that I think about it with my kind of IT brain. Not that I'm in sales, but I work with IT organizations. And so anyway, Uniswap actually uses Axelar in order to connect Uniswap with Filecoin for data storage. And that is not the only big name that they have. If you go down on their website, and by the way, their website looks awesome. I think it's been updated since the last time I was on it.
They
But-
do have some pretty cool looking stuff.
Yeah, but
I
if
like
you
this
go and you
little
look at
orange
all the
ball.
people who use Axelar, it's every big name in the space across 69 plus blockchains. That was perfect timing. So the
Nice.
adoption of Axelar is truly fantastic, phenomenal, stellar, and pretty much every positive word you could use under the sun. It's a key piece of infrastructure that helps to make the Web3 crypto space actually work. So in that sense, I put it in the same category as Chainlink, where it's basically if Axelar goes down, like crypto Web3 goes down right now at this point, at least in a lot of its functionality. So it's an incredibly important piece to the space. Everyone should know about it. And I feel like that finally started to happen in the past, 8, 9, 12 months or so.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot of mind share, and it's a tough to define metric, but it's a really important one, is how do people know you? Are you known? And who are those people that have your name in their mouths? It also, I think, is worth mentioning about the token that it's got a couple of different purposes, okay? You pay transaction fees with the AXL token, so it's also a coin. It can be staked to secure the network, earn rewards for people who participate in staking, and it's a governance token. So it's kind of that classic trifecta that we see in a lot of different tokens that are their own network coin. As of April 23rd, it's trading at about 33 cents a token. That's today. Unless you're in the future, with a market capitalization of around 310 million. Unless also you're in the past, in which case that would be really weird because you're totally time traveling and you got to call me, man. The token has increased 13% in the last week, but it's down about 22% in the last month. They had a network upgrade to something called Cobalt. Don't know exactly what it did. Supposedly enhanced the tokenomics and expanded the token's utility. They've had, as Will said, a number of important partnerships, not just in blockchain, but beyond. I flashed it on the screen there, but JP Morgan, their Onyx digital assets, and Lido use them to bring world assets staking on chain. It's definitely positioning itself as a foundational Web3 interoperability layer, but I've got to be completely honest with you. I haven't paid much attention to the token or the ecosystem growth personally. I was kind of waiting to hear more from them and to take a closer look, because the episode of After Dark that I was not on, where you guys talked about it, I was not on. Man, I can't talk tonight. You know what I'm saying?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Picking up what I'm putting down. What do you think, Alex?
Okay, so I'm going to de-jargon what this thing is for a minute, because it is actually really cool, and it's actually an important use case. An easy way to think about Axelar is that in the Web3 space, it kind of functions like TCP IP in the Web 2 space.
You just de-jargon my jargon with jargon.
What's true?
I have to say the term before I can define it.
Okay.
So what the hell is TCP IP is what I was going to say before.
You were so rudely interrupted.
Before I was rugged. This is basically just like a fancy jargon term for how the internet works behind the scenes. Think about it like in Willy Wonka, when Mike TV gets sent from one side of the room to the other. And he accidentally comes out smaller. But the way that it works is that he gets taken apart into lots of little tiny itty bitty pieces and then sent across the room and reassembled on the other side. The internet does that with stuff that you're sending behind the scenes. So when I send Evan an email, I'm not like physically packaging up this big block of data and then it traveling on one road to get to Evan. There's a gajillion routes that data can take across the internet. And this stuff gets fragmented, gets broken up, and then gets sent on whatever route is fastest, and it gets rebuilt and reassembled on the other side. Just like my TV in Willy Wonka. There you go. Thank you.
You should always be a good digital citizen. No, that doesn't mean you should transport yourself into the TV. Mike TV is what the Willy Wonka meme I pulled up says.
So that's kind of what Axelar does, but in the crypto space. It makes it so that things that need to be sent from one crypto project to another do it safely. So the risks associated with this are that bridging is still kind of a risky business. Exploits happen on bridges. There's problems with it, especially when you're sending tokens from one network to another, because that usually implies that it's got to get locked up somewhere and then reminted somewhere else and then relocked on the other side if you want to come back, and then unlocked over here. There's a lot of fail points. So it's kind of newer, it's riskier. A lot of the big exploits, in fact, I would say probably all of the gigantic exploits that have happened around bridging. And then of course, it's kind of cumbersome. This is not like a B2C. This is not a thing that like you and I are necessarily needing to use at scale every single day. So it's for companies to use with other companies. It's a B2B product. In that sense, it's very important. So that's kind of why I'm a fan of it, because it's understandable, people need it, and a lot of them are using it.
So how do we feel about it as an investment?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm not good at talking about investing.
Did they take VC funding? Do we know?
Probably.
Go ahead, Will. What do you think? I can find out.
I mean, I was just looking at the chart. I mean, like if you look at the time where the crypto markets were the hottest, so if you go like, this is at least on Axelar's chart. Like it had a bottom in August of 2024, and then it hit a high at the same time as, just about everything did around December 2024. And it had a 212% return, which is good, of course. In fact, in the world of traditional finance, it's
awesome.
Amazing. Yeah. But like, in the crypto space at the height of a bull run, there's a bunch of other things that did, much, much, much better. So, obviously you can make a lot of money on this. 212% is nothing to sneeze at. But in the crypto space, there are things that really outperformed it by quite a bit. But as we all know, this altcoin season was a very hard fought one in terms of where you made your profits. It was either you went into like a handful of old dinosaur coins and made a killing, or you got lucky on some meme coins, made a killing. And then on the other coins, other utility coins, maybe you made, 200% to 300% if you timed things perfectly, but were outperformed by those others. So Axelar, in terms of as an investment, as with everything, you can make money off of it. It is a high enough market cap with enough volume in Binance and also Coinbase, the two biggest centralized exchanges, for you to be able to do what you want, no matter, you don't have to worry about a lack of liquidity or anything. But it's not really impressing me with the pumpamentals aspect of it, but I love what it is. I love what it does.
I noted that Monib, I wanted to shout him out, said that they did take VC money. So thank you, Monib, for the assist in the chat. I was just looking up to see who their top holders were because it looks like most of their supply is released into circulation, about 90%. Go ahead, Alex. You got a point, and I'll look that up.
Yep. So seed round was 3.75 million with participation from Binance, DCVC, and a few others. The Series A was another 25 million, which was led by Polychain Capital and also included like Dragonfly and Galaxy Digital, some big names. And then strategic token investments. This is the thing Evan has lots of content warning you about. $30 million from firms like Arrington Capital, Electric Capital, a couple others that I have never heard of. And then like we pointed out, there's a regular unlock investing and all that kind of stuff that goes along with deals like that. So overall, they've secured over $93 million in funding across multiple rounds. And but I will say that one of the things that they did with that is build and launch a $60 million ecosystem startup fund. So it looks like a pretty significant amount of that money is going back into hopefully incentivize builders to come over and do stuff. I think my holdup there then just becomes that when you are so hardcore into the B2B space, running an ecosystem fund is great. It's like one of my bare minimums. If you are an ecosystem and you are not running a grants program, I couldn't be less interested in you. And there's only like 2 or 3 that aren't running one, for the record. And I just don't know how appetizing this is. Like, I don't know who necessarily are the targets for this. I would have to dig into like their grants application, like who are they encouraging to apply and all that kind of stuff, which would be great questions for Galen or whoever from the team we managed to have join us on the show. But there you go. Pretty significant fundraise.
Where would you guys go to look up top holders? I'm just having a blank or a brain fart. This is a CoinGecko thing, isn't it?
No.
I mean,
No.
there's axelarscan.io.
So that's where I was just a second ago on the screen share, and they had a lot of stats, but I could not find one about top holders
Interesting.
specifically.
They also
found
have
top users.
Etherscan, so let me see if it's on there.
I wasn't sure that that was the right token because I pulled that up first. It said they
Well,
only
it's
have.
on CoinMarketCap for it, so you think.
Oh,
it'd
it
be
is?
right.
Okay, great. That's a good verification. Do you see the one with 9,600 holders? On-chain market cap 45 million. Does it look like the one I'm about to show on the screen?
9,659 holders.
Yeah, which
On-chain
seems
market cap
low.
45 million. Seems low because the market cap's 307 million. This doesn't seem like the right token, but it's on
Well,
the crypto.
that's
It's on
close to the
CoinMarketCap.
correct market cap. But what really threw me off was the transfers. The last one was 7 minutes ago, then 11 minutes ago. Like, I don't know. That's not a lot of user activity like I would expect to see. And the top holders, maybe this is just for like on ETH chain.
You ever heard of
That's what it has to be.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Have I heard what?
Have you ever heard of CoinCarp?
I just
Yeah.
saw that in the search results too. I've never heard of it, but tell me what they say.
Yeah, so this seems to, I really like this dashboard. I've never heard of this website before, but here, I'll toss it up.
Go ahead. I'm going to keep digging over here.
This sounds about right. The numbers on this seem to line up. So total market cap of just over $300 million with a fully diluted valuation of $389 million. Does that sound about right? 24-hour volume, $7.5 million.
Yeah.
Circulating
Yeah,
supply.
I have
there we
total
go.
volume here of 10 million, but close enough. Or close.
So this is kind of neat. So this is kind of tiny, but exchange statistics. Whoop, there we go. So Binance seems to be the leader by a lot. As they say, a country mile, followed by Bybit in second place. And then we've got just all of the others here. So see, holders. Okay, here we go. So you've got 18.18% sitting in this wallet. The one thing this does not, okay, so this is flagged as being Binance. So there's 2 wallets that are bigger. This
I
one
wasn't
is
sure if
sending
those
out a
were
lot.
some kind of team wallet.
I'm thinking that this is probably like the main one that is vesting because it's got the
Yeah.
biggest negative change.
I would take this for people who are curious about this, and especially people listening to the podcast. We're looking at blockchain, on-chain data, using some blockchain explorers. This is one of the most important skills in crypto, is to be able to search for this information. It's not intuitive, but it's also not hard. And we have a really good video on YouTube that'll help you get started, but there are good resources, how to read a blockchain explorer on the Faceless Labs page. Check that out, then come to the Discord with your questions, because where I would go next is the Axelar Scan website and see if one of these addresses matches like one of their partners who's doing a lot of their chain movement. You know what I mean? Like some of their partners are token holders of significant size. Probably somebody like Lido has a lot of their tokens to do on-chain transfers all the time. So I'd be curious to know that.
What's also interesting to note is I'm on Axelar Scan, is that when it comes to volume of cross-chain activity,
Yeah.
by a country mile, it is BNB chain and Say, and specifically volume between those two leading the way in a huge way. But it's interesting that Say and BNB are connected so aggressively on Axelar for volume. And then there's also an interesting connection between osmosis and Ethereum in both directions, with volume going back and forth. But when it comes to total transactions, you have a little bit of it's more of an even pairing across all the various blockchains that they have. So I don't know. It's interesting how that's worked out.
Yeah, and I want to know to see further what they're using that for, because in our space, people have manufactured token volume to create fees, to create volume, to generate pumps, like market makers be making markets.
Mm-hmm.
That is a documented thing here.
And when
I
it
need
comes to
look
just
further.
when it comes to just pure transactions, so you're kind of getting away from potential big money being put through one time, right? You are looking at Polygon and BNB chain being the leaders of Axelar usage. Arbitrum's really high up there as well, and Osmosis is pretty high up there, but Polygon and BNB look the biggest.
And the first thing I'd look at if I was looking closer is I'd want to see like this to me, based on what Axelar does, indicates that there's a lot of active cross-chain transactions facilitated by Axelar between BNB and Say, Ethereum and his Osmosis. And it could be DeFi services. It could be integration of stablecoins into their ecosystem. I mean, there's lots of different things that are legitimate that it really could be, but I'd need to know more before I could say I was really bullish or bearish.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm just pretty jazzed about this website, CoinCarp, that I've never heard of before. It looks like, for those of you who aren't able to see the screen, the part that I'm enjoying is just kind of the way that the information is laid out. So it kind of looks like a little bit cleaner, more like, I don't want to say graphic heavy because there's no images really. It's just a nicer layout with a little bit better UI of your traditional blockchain explorer. It looks a little bit more like what I would call a typical browsing experience, which is kind of the direction I would like to see blockchain explorers go, to just make it a little bit easier to parse through all of the data that they're presenting, which is all good stuff. And like Evan said, it's the most important skill in crypto. Learn how to read the data from the chain itself. But up here at the top, they've just got like a really nice layout for all of these tags. You've got your like important links right here, which I've actually never seen a direct link labeled with source code, which is kind of nice. Usually just like calls it the GitHub, which can be kind of misleading. You never know which repo you're going to there. Then the white paper, obviously we've got social links up here, link to their Medium, which is nice. And then tags. So, you know, where are we? So we've got these different portfolios here, contract address, more of that, the VC portfolios that are currently invested in and holding it. So Polychain Capital, Binance Labs, Coinbase Ventures, all tagged, which probably just means you can sort through it here. This down here, this is the rich list, which is the holders.
Love the name of that feature.
Right?
Yep.
This is the top holders right here. Could tab right over here to fundraising. And here you go. Here's all of that information that we were talking about with regards to who invested how much and when. And shout out to CoinCarp, because this is a thing I've been looking for that is pay gated on websites like Crunchbase, which is a bummer. And Crunchbase used to have it for free, but now they don't anymore. And it looks, I mean, I'm not even logged into something. I didn't have to make an account or anything to read all of this, which is sweet. Not sponsored by CoinCarp, but like, hey, maybe I'll I'm gonna
Can we
slide
just
into their
collect
DMs after this.
the trifecta of animal sponsors? Can we collect
Dude, right?
CoinCarp, CoinGecko, and DeFi Llama? I would be happy as a clam. Pun
Oh, that's an
intended.
interesting trend. Yeah.
Right?
You know, I mean, and they're kind of odd animals: geckos, llamas, and carps. Who'd have thunk it? But they're all stars.
Dude, for real.
Point for
I don't.
them.
I'm gonna poke around this a little bit more because there's so much more. That here's a straight
Oh yeah,
picture just of the tokenomics.
it's a great
with,
website.
with graphics. This is awesome. I'm a big fan of this.
Okay, we've talked enough about it. How about we give it a
Yeah.
grade? Even though last time we gave it I think you guys gave it an A or an A minus. I'm curious mostly to see how your grades have changed, and I'm grading it for the first time. I need some time to think about it on this one. Alex, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. So just to nutshell it, if you missed it, the spiel: service obviously necessary. There is demand for it. It has adoption. All of these are good. These are good things. I would note the concerns about kind of this, what I would call the standard model: hefty raise, lots of VC involvement, vesting tokens, diluted valuation higher than market cap. They don't lose any points for that because that's basically everybody. I actually don't remember all of my grades for it, but based just on today and all this kind of stuff, and again, my grades never really consider the chart too much because I don't care. It's still in B. I'm going to stick with a flat B just because I really like it. I understand why it exists. The token makes sense to me. I wish that maybe some of the model was a little bit different, but overall, it's a product that has achieved product market fit in the B2B space in crypto, and that deserves points.
Deserves points, but the dings are hard to come by here. So
Wait, I put the grade under Evan's name.
oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Will, you had one job.
I'm sorry.
I think I've given have I given more than one B plus tonight?
Let's see.
I
you
think
gave
I
a
gave
D,
Uniswap
you
a
gave
B
B
plus.
plus, and you gave a Tau a B.
I'm thinking I might give it another B plus because I agree with everything Alex said, and I think for that reason it could also be interesting to consider as an investment too. I need to hear from the Axelar team before I send them a check for my tokens. What about
Fair.
you, Will?
I'm going with a straight B
Straight
as well.
B.
We're all across the board right there. And for me, it's just hang on. 1 second.
Yeah, for me, it is. I love what they do. I love something that's an incredibly important and key piece of infrastructure in the space. Having it be B2B is, I think, it's just looking at it as an investment, a little bit of a ding against it. But I do like it. It has market mind share in the space right now. If it can get going, it can get going pretty
Very
hot.
good point.
Pretty,
That it does.
pretty hot and hard.
What?
Pretty hot and hard, baby. But
I just want to
so
shout out.
anyway, I like it.
I want to shout out Robert in the comments who has taken the liberty to, when you said, "Are they doing good work?" Ding. Let's give them a point. So people are giving out points left and right. If you want a point from us, all you got to do is ask for it or make a valuable contribution to the conversation. And that can come in the form of likes, shares, witty comments, good jokes, words of wisdom. Let us know if you bought the new Rise Up Morning Show mug or something like that, and we can probably find a point in our bag for you. Oh, look, there's one there. So what do you think? I wouldn't be so sad if we went to TARS next because I feel like I could do it quickly. We've got about 25 minutes left on our show and a couple more tokens to grade.
We can do TARS quickly, I think. I'm just curious to see what's different about it. Also, fair disclaimer, I was paid to make a video about them about 6 or so months ago. In it, I tore them to shreds, except I said one good thing about them, and I said I would never invest in the token. I told them before, I was like, I'll accept your money if you let me. I'm gonna poke holes at everything. And they're like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay.
Alrighty then.
Thank you.
So Will,
I
maybe
will never buy this coin.
maybe would you start us off then with what that is like? I think it'd be really good for people, especially to hear these companies all rely on advertising. They rely on marketing to some extent, but how they approach it, though many of them approach it the same way. We've got a bunch of money. Let's pay a bunch of influencers to talk about us. I think it really reveals a lot about like their biz dev, their strategy, how they go to market and ask people to talk about it and how they talk to those people. So can you talk about that experience and just give us your feedback on it? How did they approach you? What was the ask? Did they pay you well? And what was your impression of like working with them?
Yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't much of a working relationship because they had hired somebody to go out and get a bunch of influencers, right? So they had a third party who was taking a cut on everything. So I forget how I got in touch with them. It was either through a Telegram group, or they were in my DMs on TikTok, and my DMs weren't as underwater as they are now. And I actually saw it. I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, let's talk. It was one of those two. And so they said, hey, we're doing a campaign with creators. We have a big push, yada, yada. We want to try to get content out before this date because I think it was the token was getting listed on some exchange or something was happening. I forget what it was. And so they said, hey, we want you to talk about like XYZ things, like these 3 things. We want you to mention it, but otherwise, have at it. And those 3 things were things that I would talk about in an altcoin review anyway. So I was like, all right, cool, sure. It was something about like the team's latest development of whatever it was. I don't even remember. I don't even remember what it is. You could look up my name in Tars AI, and I'm sure the video will pop up on TikTok. And so when it came to working with the team, I didn't work with the team at all. Again, it's this third party person who's coordinating with all of the content creators. So you don't get to chat with the team. You don't get to ask questions to the team and any of that kind of stuff. They just say, hey, here are these things, talk about them, make a video. Some people made videos and they said, hey, it's doing this and it's doing that and it's doing it. And I think Tars AI is cool. And that's what they did. And they took their money and went off. Some people went an extra layer in. And I made a 10-minute video slicing and dicing that baby. So that was my experience. That's how they approached me. There was some haggling and negotiating. And I was like, I will accept this amount of money. And then they actually said yes to it. And I was like, you do understand that I'm gonna say things about your token, right? And the person said, yeah, that's fine. We don't care. I was just like, oh, you literally just want people talking about it. You don't care if it's like good press or bad press. That's all that matters. Mine share is mine share. And so anyway, and then Tars AI at the time, and I haven't looked at it since then. It's been 5 months or something like that, 6 months. At the time, it was another AI marketplace coin that I tore to shreds on Solana. And I was like, I think this is dumb. I think it's stupid. This isn't anything advantageous to what you can get via open source in the traditional Web2 space. But they also had another bit where I was like, this other bit that they barely market is the thing that is maybe useful, which is basically like a launch pad for other people in the Solana ecosystem to be able to create their own tokens and like Web3 organizations, right? That has some level of auditing on it because at the time it was starting to get bad, the amount of scam projects in Solana, and that only escalated. So something out there that was trying to address a problem. Now, to be fair, this use case is not a new use case to the space. Like this launch pad kind of a thing that has like auditing on it to add more trustworthiness to the credibility of that launch. That's not a rug pull and things like that. That exists out there, but it was nice to see. And I gave Tars their due. I was like, this is useful. There's a need in the space. And a lot of coins can do well, not by having to find a need and a pain point to address in the real world, by finding a need and a pain point in the crypto Web3 world. If it's a big enough pain point, could be very valuable. So those are the two sides of their business at that time. And they were really going heavy with the AI marketplace portion of it. And I really kind of took a big poo-poo on that. But I did say, hey, this other piece is nice, but I would never own the coin because I just don't think it really had the legs. And when you have a big influencer-driven campaign, it does kind of give you a little bit of a window into like how the organization is run and kind of what they value. And it's more of like a pump and dump kind of a vibe. I think we all kind of pick up on that.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get. I've got their website on the screen share, and this claim that they make here, every tokenized agent deployed on the Tars AI market launches on a native bonding curve. So you can create an agent here, and their token is used for transactions and rewards within this ecosystem. And it's a lot like pump.fun for AI agents, which is not dissimilar to Virtual's protocol, which is not dissimilar to XYZ, ABC, you name it. And the claim they make is, paired with a native token liquidity, this makes TARS the backbone of the entire AI economy. And I think that's taken it about 10 steps too far there. I think there's a lot of competition for this, and it kind of reminds me of Tau, but a different flavor. Different kind of solution, different kind of token, different structured approach. But it seems like, let's give people some funny money to get them to build AI agents. We're the only one on Solana. We were at the Google startup thing. I don't know. I don't know them personally, but the vibe I get is that this is maybe not a problem that the token should be used to solve. I never like solutions where they pay you in their token. Like, that's the utility of the token, is we're going to pay AI people or DeSci people or whatever with this token. And then people also can speculate on it.
So they've added the AI agent play, but again, that wasn't their initial focus when TARS came out. Maybe it was on the roadmap. I'll give them that caveat, but it does seem like they just kind of like added the AI agent piece to be like, hey, we're also in this trend.
We're also here.
Maybe it was their plan the whole time. I don't know. I didn't know the team. I didn't have a chance to chat with them. But yeah, I don't know. It just kind of gives me like the heebie-jeebies a little bit. But I think the chart was a pretty good one at the time. I'm not sure.
Let's take a look at it. I've got it right here on the screen share for you if you want to play along at home.
Oh.
How long until I get to talk about how much I hate this thing?
Well, now that wait, Evan, you have the chart up, but I do like it on TradingView. Just because of the red is just aggressive. Yeah. Oh, Evan just had that giddy little smile and laugh. Yeah. And there you have it, the fate of most influencer-driven campaign coins.
So, Alex,
I will absolutely die on this.
Yes.
Take it away.
Steaming pile of shit. This thing is so stupid. This token doesn't need to exist. It is a pump and dump through a buttload of different influencers, none of whom could tell you what it does if their lives depended on it. And the whole thing is just falling into the ground. Okay, like any project like this that doesn't use its blockchain's native token immediately is in my shit list. Like, if they actually wanted to do something like this and they used native Sol for their utility, that would have been 1,000% better than this piece of crap. But like,
Alex, for the people who aren't familiar with your approach on this,
Tell me why.
Why use the native token instead of a new token? What is the benefit or the purpose?
The benefit is that you actually support the ecosystem upon which your project depends. So if you're building something in a...
How could you say something so brave?
I know, right? Yeah, call me I don't know. Apparently that's a radical idea or business idea.
You sure you work in Web3? Because it seems like you have a soul.
Dude, listen, I've pitched that
Loser.
in like proposal meetings and in funding requests and grant applications to people in the Avalanche ecosystem, to people I did it with Multiverse X, I did it on Injective, I did it with Avalanche, and I did it with somebody else, Solana. And every single time they're like, oh, wow, that's an interesting idea. Like, I can't believe I'm the first person to say that to you. Like, you've given out millions and millions and millions of dollars for no good reason. And I'm the first person to suggest that someone use your cryptocurrency. Like, that should be a requirement if I'm giving you a grant, that you bake in utility for the host ecosystem's native currency. It just makes no sense to do anything else. So this token doesn't need to exist. The whole thing is a overhyped brochure of buzzwords, and nothing that I'm saying means that the token can't pump for Joe, who's telling me how much the token is up this week, which I have no idea if that's accurate or not.
No, he's being sarcastic.
Okay. Bullshit can pump all the time. It's really not that hard. Harry Potter Obama Sonic Inu
Maybe he is right.
Has had great days too.
He is right. It's up 108% over the past 3 days, but
there you go.
But wait.
Does that coincide with
its high, it is still down 90%.
And
Yeah,
that's
okay.
just bullshit.
There you go. And I would hazard a guess that perhaps there was another social media hype campaign pump, and then because of how many people are horrendously underwater with that thing, they're just hoping and a praying. And tokens like this can get manipulated. So I don't know. There's not enough like sounds in the sound to explain what I think this piece of shit is.
Well, for now, I'm going to give it a.
It's just stupid.
And how do we feel about just giving it as a grade?
Yeah, just write Gwump.
I got to be a little bit more creative than that.
Take your time and express your creativity.
Give me
darling.
a second. Give me a second. You guys can move on to deep, though.
Let's move on to Deep
Wait.
Book after I give a quick
Do it.
point to Joe for the assist with Crypto Bubbles and the 99% stat. What you got, Al?
Wait. For deep.
For Deep, are you ready? Because I've got the website pulled up. Do you want me
I'm
to?
good.
Do you want to give the introduction?
Sure. Yeah. So couple quick stats for you. So we reviewed this one a little while ago. I don't remember which episode it was, but it was several months ago at least. Deep Book is a DeFi liquidity protocol built in the Sui ecosystem, and obviously Sui has had some time. It's been hot in the attention space across the industry, and Deep Book's token has kind of been super volatile. So I guess if you're in the business of doing some swing trading, then you may have done well. Notably on the agenda, because it did like 45% this week, it's down pretty heavily today, which definitely makes sense for a smaller currency that just had a ridiculous run up like that. Lots of people are escaping. But it's interesting. This is one of those that I know, I like that line, setting the bar for liquidity and trading in DeFi and making sure it's pretty damn high.
What a great line on their website. I was like, man, they wrote that for you.
So this one is interesting. I don't know as much about the specifics of the token. I would worry that, again, it's one of those that really should just be using native Sui. And I just really wish that was the norm. I really wish that was just a thing. So I feel like this one is going to probably continue to make the rounds, just because it's a hot ecosystem. They've got a lot of mind share right now. Sui's done very well. There's not a tremendous number of protocols over there. So your choices, if you're like trying to niche down and go a little bit deeper than just buying Sui, there's not a ton. The big ones would be Navi, which we've also covered, Cetus, Scallop, and then Deep. There's a couple others that are around, Sui Lend and that kind of stuff. But in the terms of like protocols with their own native token, there's really not a lot to choose from. So
That's interesting. I'm going to pull it up on the Llama just so people can see a comparison. This is Sui Protocols. And for anybody who can't see it on the YouTube stream or on the podcast, you're going to need to just call Will and get him to send you a picture of his TARS AI grade, because
There it is. I was just waiting for Alex to smirk. I was waiting for
love
him
it.
to see the man stub his toe.
that is
Beautiful.
if I've ever heard one. It looks like for Sui, your options towards the top are pretty strong. Sui Lend with 509 million, Navi with 430 million. This is TVL, and several others in the three figures. Deep Book, a not unrespectable, but still modest 28 million in TVL. But the growth and change is pretty impressive, including a 1 minute change of 48%. I don't know what's up with
Yep.
that.
Wasn't that 1 month?
I'm stuck in meme coin land, man. It's got to be 1 month. 48%.
It is 1 month, yeah. That third section of it is 1 month.
Market
It'd be weird
cap
to go.
of-
It would be weird to go from like one
It's like,
day.
that's what
one
I said to
week.
myself. I said, why are we giving 1 minute candles on DeFi Llama? But it's 1 month, guys. I'm not going to want myself for it. It's $400 million market cap. So, also respectable.
I will say, I don't think that for this particular type of project, TVL is really not that important.
It's not
for
the
this.
metric. Got it.
No, it's not the metric for it. Volume is the metric that I would be more concerned about. Fees generated, revenue, volume. This is not a DEX. Okay, there's no pooled liquidity sitting on this thing. It's an order book. It's meant to process it's not holding the value. So that honestly checks out. And this is a really good point to highlight that TVL is really not the end all be all. It's really important for specific types of protocols, but you can't just blanket apply one metric to all things and call that like, the ultimate tell whether or not it's good. So I really wouldn't worry about the TVL with this one very much. It really doesn't matter.
And if you'd like, I can give you a quick little notation of the token. I get to try out a new version of GPT while I give you the overview for all the different things that we're looking at. Its total supply, 10 billion. Circulating supply, 2.5 billion. Looks like there was an airdrop, 10% of the supply. And it looks like core contributors, aka VCs, early backers, builders, got almost 30%. So it could be kind of a heavy token from that perspective. But as you can see, the price is doing great recently. They've had a strong protocol upgrade that gave them permissionless pools, lower fees, deeper liquidity, enhanced the trading experience, and they've been listed on Binance Futures and a couple of other big exchanges like Upbit. So there's been increased trading activity and volume that has contributed to price appreciation. The token is for staking-based governance and other kinds of security measures, mitigating risks like wash trading, governance attacks, et cetera, et cetera. Will, what are you showing us here? What you got?
Well, that's Deep's chart, and I just want to highlight that on Tuesday alone, this is the daily chart, so not the candle with the super long wick on top, but the one to the left of it, the thick green boy, it did 120% in a day.
Wow.
Beefy.
That's a big beefy jump.
That's a big beefy jump.
So just to wrap up the metrics about this that I would pay attention to, like I said, volume, number of orders placed and executed, and then spread. And actually, if you look at their TVL, you'll notice a tremendous amount of chop, especially in the beginning. That makes perfect sense. Basically just means the thing was operating as it was supposed to. Remember that the L in TVL stands for locked, and you really don't lock any liquidity in an order book. Yeah. So just a fun fact. If you're looking at TVL as a metric, which is a good thing to check, if it seems really low, ask yourself, what kind of protocol are you looking at? Now, if we were looking at a DEX that had a market cap of almost $500 million and a TVL of 28 million, I would say you have cause for concern, but not here.
Interesting.
Yeah, and when I look at the TVL of SWE, I had some concerns of it going down, the amount of SWE when the market was still hot. But since the market's been cold at the start of 2025, it's been steadily increasing, which shows to me a growing DeFi ecosystem on SWE despite markets being cold. And that's a good sign for Deep. So that's nice to see.
Very interesting. Okay. I need to know more about it. I might need to look around and play with it myself. It might be, as you said earlier, Alex, one of those products that's I'm going to use it, but it's not marketed to me. I'm not building on it. I'll just know I'm using it in the background. I'd be curious to know and see more about that, but I don't know. I don't know that I honestly know enough to give it a sufficient grade.
Well, I like the token distribution. It gave 61.57% to the community.
Yeah, but I feel like I said earlier, it's 30% to team and core contributors and early backers, which I think is a lot. And they had a 10% airdrop, which is cool, but I don't know. I just don't know enough to have a strong opinion about it. I like what they do. I love the headline on their website. Okay, I gave them a ding for that, but I just need to know more.
As long as the DeFi ecosystem on SWE continues to grow in a positive direction, I would imagine there'll be positive fundamental growth for Deep. Since it just had a huge shot upwards, it does have the volatility to potentially remain and be a very volatile, hopefully to the upside, altcoin. So I'd be very interested in continuing to watch this. And SWE has a ton of mind share still within the crypto space. So it's going to be able to benefit off of that. I mean, I'd certainly be down to give it a B at the very least for right now.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking. People clearly use it. It's interesting in a growing ecosystem. I would definitely give it another look. I would go so far maybe as to give it a B+. Alex, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I don't know that it has any real competition inside of the ecosystem. So that's another good sign. And the fact that they are processing decent volume. So DeepBook's 24-hour token volume is $1 billion.
Yeah, but that I've had it up on the llama a minute ago, and that's like I think that's got to be related to the price increase or driving the price increase. I think that's
Okay.
because that's a development. That's not.
It says, okay, yeah, the data for this metric is
not the
imported
trend.
directly from CoinGecko.
Well, no,
So
no,
if
no.
you
I'm
were
not saying
to-
it's wrong, but I'm just saying look at it on
Hold
the
on.
screen share, and I'll show it to
Yeah.
you. Go ahead. The trend is.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It was
Oh, no,
like
that's TVL.
no, but the volume was like 2 million, 1 million, 2 million, 1 million, 500,000. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, sorry, excuse me, 10 million, 20 million, 10 million, 20 million, 10 million, 20 million, and then it was like
I see.
A massive
500
single
million,
jump.
a billion. Yeah. Which
That's weird.
I need to know why.
Yeah, that's very strange. Either way, the trend, if I go back to like the beginning of November of last year,
hmm
daily volume is what I would call healthy, which is nice, relatively consistent. The lowest point since then, beginning of March, was still 13 million or $6 million a day in volume. So I don't know. Overall, I'm not mad about it. I would obviously say that right now is an incredibly risky time to add this particular token to
Yeah.
your portfolio.
Very much so. Yeah. Would not be
Um,
touching it with a 6-foot stick right now just because it's run up
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, but I would watch list this one. This one's been on my watch list for a long time. I've never really felt inclined to buy it, but it's one that I would like to follow along with because seems to be a legitimate business doing legitimate business things for the Sweet ecosystem, and I like it when crypto companies do legitimate business things.
Fair
So
enough.
grade.
It's probably a B, just because
Yeah.
it's one of those things that has fit. It's probably making some money. The revenue's not reported here, but volume is good. Oh, I'm sorry, Evan. That was okay. I just realized what I was reading when I said $1 billion. That was token volume. That's just trading of Deep because of all of this.
That's right. Not volume on its protocol.
That makes
That's right.
more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Right.
that's what we're getting at.
Yeah,
And we could see
24-hour volume on the platform is 40 million. So that makes way more sense. 38,
Interesting.
38.2 million.
Okay. Well, then it's about that time, guys, that we have got to give a final thought, take a pick of the night, and ride our dogs and ponies off into the sunset. Or maybe it's late enough that we could ride our cat and cows into the sunrise. But if you've got a final thought, a question, a suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom, let us know. And if you've got something you want us to check out, like Nita was asking if we could compare China's RMB to Swift, or Robert was saying, can you just TA Hawk Tua? I want to know if I'm going to get my bag back. Sorry about your bags. Or any other question, then the best place to leave it is going to be in the Rise Up Discord, and that's discord.gg/riseup. So much cool stuff is there. The new USDC to $2 design poll is in the Discord with a few more hours left. We'd like your opinion on that. If you've got a question, if you're waiting to find the community that will help you learn about crypto, that's the one we recommend. The only thing missing is you. So, guys, do you want to give a pick of the night? And I'll give some point totals and we'll get the heck out of here. What's your pick of the night, Will?
Pick of the night. Pick of the night. I mean, it's not my highest grade,
But I'm way more interested in Deep than I am BitTensor Tau. Because I'm a slut for DeFi.
He is.
I
Yeah.
am.
He sure is. He really loves telling us about it.
I certainly do. No, it's going to be Deep. It's Deep for sure. That's my pick.
Okay, Deep's his pick. Alex, what about you? You got a pick of the night?
Oh yeah, for sure. Uniswap all day, every day.
Uniswap pick of the night. I am kind of thinking Uniswap might be my pick of the night too. I'm the most excited to see what they're going to do next. I'm the most excited to keep paying attention and looking at that. So congratulations, Uniswap. Let us know if you've got a pick of the night here. We want to see what that's going to be. And then let me tell you what the results are of tonight's game?
I have no guesses, dude. This one felt like it was all over the place. I feel
Yeah,
like 40
I feel
people
like-
all have 1 point.
There are a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people with 1 point.
You're right about that. And starting out in last place with 1 is actually Dion Protocol. I'm so sorry, Dion.
Well, that is rather fitting.
So that was the big Gwump of the night. And you were right, Alex, in a several way tie for whatever place with 1 point apiece. We've got our guest who couldn't make it because she had to be at the White House, Brittany, with the best excuse. Nil, Jordan, Coin Carp, and I'm going to give a last minute 1 point to the Barnyard Trio, Coin Gecko, DeFi Llama, Coin Carp. And I'm actually going to give another point to bump Christina up into another place because I didn't want her to feel like she was with all the basic Bettys who only had 1 point. Christina, that one's for you. That means in
Market manipulation at its finest.
a tie for second place. With 5 points, it's you and me, Alex.
Hey.
Which means our winner tonight with 6 points was Mr. Will Watson. Congratulations, Will. You are the victor tonight. Do you have anything to say? A little trash to talk as you leave it on the floor.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And really, and also my coach, who really helps this week's worth of practice to really prep for my game plan for tonight.
You're welcome.
And it's really just all about team synergy. I couldn't do what I do out there on the field if it wasn't for my brothers and sisters out there on the court. Throwing those assists, those picks. It was a real team effort tonight. I'm just glad I could play my part.
God, you're such a douche.
Listen. Oh my God.
I demand a recount.
Demand a recount. Well,
It
you'll
was
get
too
one.
close.
Anyway, we're on to
You'll get one
Cincinnati.
next week. You'll get one next week.
We're on to Cincinnati.
We're on to
Alex, do
Cincinnati.
you have a final thought, good joke, word of wisdom? As the first loser, tied with me as the other first loser. I rigged this game every time and I can't even win, man. What the heck?
Hey,
I
you
know,
won
you're-
once.
You're
I saw you
really
won
bad
win
at
time.
corruption, dude. You're pretty bad at it. You gotta call the White House for some lessons in market manipulation to rig this thing in your favor one time. I'll just say, because I got the question 88 times in the chat, where is the market heading next? Nobody knows. It really depends what mood the White House wakes up in tomorrow, whether they decide they want to crash it again or they want to pump it higher. And you got an equal parts chance of both of those. So at this point, we're all flying by the seat of our pants, and it's all manipulation, baby.
It's all
See you
manipulation.
bright and early.
That's right. We'll see you bright and early. Same time, same place as we always have the Rise Up Morning Show, which is right in your living room, right in your car, right at your gym for your workout. We will be on your favorite socials, and you can catch the recordings of any of our productions on your favorite podcasting platform or a YouTube screen near you. Find the links at theriseupmorningshow.com, including the links to the new Rise Up Morning Show mug, which makes your coffee taste better, makes you look good, the Discord server, and so much more is waiting there for you, my friends. Thank you for being the very best part of what we do. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, be well, rise up.